Mike, great to be with you today. What does your role as head of growth at Pandora actually entail?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me. When we think about growth, every company is different. We really focus on user acquisition, retention, and then monetization. So our ability to refer them into upsell products like subscriptions.
How do you balance retention versus acquisition? As a growth person, I imagine acquisition is kind of first and foremost, but what is the weight between the two for your team?
Yeah, I mean, candidly, it depends on the business. At some point, depending on the source that you drive, retention becomes more important. So you can get users at scale from a lot of media companies, but to retain them and drive multiple use and loyalty, that's a lot of the battle. So we balance it. It's probably 50-50 where I spend most of my time, but depending on the source, acquisitions are getting easier with Google and Facebook. Driving them to continue to use the service is probably the majority of the focus.
So your teams are divided by retention and acquisition. How do they work together?
Yeah, so we actually recently just took a new approach to this where we segment specific points of the funnel for each individual team, and then we have independent leaders focusing on that. So we have new user onboarding, and they work directly with user acquisition teams to understand how do we send email and push and in-app experiences to customize it for the preferences we're seeing. And so we assign like general manager roles basically to our team, and we see a lot of like improvement and creativity in solving complicated problems.
How did you make that decision to have that team structure like that?
We kind of worked our way into it. You hear a lot about audience first marketing, and then all of a sudden we start doing it, and you realize it's really a business inside of itself, and we just empowered, we've a really smart team, they work really hard, and then we let them run with ideas.
What have been the most effective acquisition strategies thus far for Pandora?
Yeah, one of the things I'm most proud of that we've done, and it's really in partnership with our brand team, is we've tried to figure out upper funnel, middle funnel, and lower funnel marketing. So middle to lower funnel on the growth team is kind of what we wake up and do, but to layer in brand strategies, we have a big out-of-home campaign live now, and we're starting to see real improvement of taking a brand campaign but measuring the lift on DR principles and then applying that back to market.
I think as consumers, we think about top of funnel, bottom of funnel a lot. It kind of makes sense, but that middle of the funnel seems like a little bit more of a blurred area. What are some of the biggest challenges for that middle ground there?
Yeah, like consideration. If we see, we have a luxury, we're a free music service and we let everyone in the door if you're in the US, so our ability to engage users and give them music that they want, like that's really the retention part. Lower funnel is users already come in, they know us. And so that would be like organic or brand search, and so it's relatively easy. The upper funnel and being able to provide metrics of like decreased conversion cost off of that brand spend, that's something special that we're proud of.
So you lead with data,
Yep.
as do a lot of tech teams, but when is the right moment to ignore the data and just trust your gut, trust your instinct as a team?
Yeah, and that's one of those things that usually drives people crazy, specifically on my team, is there's certain things that we just see and the numbers look wrong. Like they look like they're going in a different direction. There's no reason why a consumer would like to listen to this content, or there's no reason why they would find that experience not better. And so sometimes we have to lean in, and it is a gut intuition, and I'm constantly wrong, as my team reminds me. But the ability to continue to focus on things and stay persistent is important, because if you give up too early, you wind up losing a lot of the powerful learnings you can get.
If there's some disagreement on your teams for something that's maybe not backed by data, do you make the executive decision? How does that discussion really work?
The meritocracy, and at some point data does rule, right? But everyone can come to the table and say, here's the right decision, or here's my input, and if they're passionate about it, and if we give them the right data, then it'll solve itself.
And is that how you democratize decision making, is empower your teams with data?
Yeah, exactly. So it's dashboard leadership. Yeah, everyone has refined KPIs that they really focus on, and then the ability for them to navigate hard problems, work with product teams, work with third parties, and show improvement. So we've started to see like really compounding growth through a lot of this effort.
How do you measure success? How do you arrive at those North Star metrics?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's just users enjoying the platform, whether it's hours listening to music or loyalty, where we look at same-day sessions, et cetera. Those types of things are, like, as music continues to change, things that we're focused on, but we try to look at user happiness as our primary KPI.
Do your team's KPIs and goals bubble up to one larger company goal that everyone can kind of embrace?
Yeah, absolutely. And so we focus in really on improving listening on behalf of users, whether it's music or podcasts or content, and how we put that together.
Is there one particular strategy or campaign or project from your team that you're most proud of?
Yeah, and I think it was referencing that brand campaign that we recently just launched, is our ability to go out in markets that aren't digital, influence consumers, measure results, and then see a bottom line benefit. That's something we're really proud of.
How does user testing look for you? Getting feedback, what is your kind of process through that?
Yeah, we have a whole host of testing, focus groups, consumer research. So I could say, like, we take that very seriously. We have teams focused on it.
And you were previously at a consumer financial services company. What are some of the most transferable skills that you took from there to Pandora?
Yeah, it's funny making the jump into entertainment, specifically in music. Before joining, I made a business model of what I expected click-through rates to be, conversion and engagement, and I had to wipe all those out because they were like significantly higher. But that said, at the end of the day, if you really understand the ecosystem and the technology and really the show, you're able to put together some of the pieces that apply to all industries because it's really the same principles. How do you find a consumer, make them fall in love with your brand, and drive loyalty and repeat use?
All right, Mike, well, thank you for your time today. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.